guys? This is the Squirrel and Jesse show. As always, we're on Tuesday. A a big weekend of football has passed us by. Listen, we wanted to get into something, quick and stuff like that. As I know the main man there, he's on lunch and everything, and rainy day, got a few things to do later, but there's a huge issue in the NFL right now that we need to kind of persistently think about and look at, and it's this running back situation. The
Sad.
in the injuries, um, the questions that they always have, going forward with a lot of the money situation and the injuries, and like I said, everything. It's a whole big situation and scenario that I think needs to be addressed and talked to. And that's why a lot of these guys are doing their holdouts and they're not wanting to play. They're not wanting to do anything. And I think, well, like I said, needs to be talked out. Jesse's with us as always. What's going on, my man?
What's up, buddy? How you doing this wonderful Tuesday, 9/19/2023, baby?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Dealing with some rain, little turd little day today, but
Oh, it's beautiful in Florida, bro. Sunny and 80.
typical sunny and 90 and humid as
No, it's actually, dude, it ain't getting above like 85 all week.
wow, that's a change, I
Yeah,
would
it's
say.
a break.
But last night's game, Pittsburgh ends up taking down Cleveland. What a wishy washy game that was there. I still don't understand how that game even finished. First, I still feel like we're in the first quarter. Like I said, as Joe Buck mentioned, we had to go back to the first quarter.
Go back in
After we had
time.
already, go back in time. So I really wanted to dive into the running back issue here. Is everybody is holding out for money. Everyone wants to get paid. We get it. We get it. And I think this kind of shows you here. He wants to get paid, and then he gets injured. You know,
All of them.
there's a huge business standpoint on the other side of this that I think a lot of people are, you know, not not completely paying attention to. When you're the owner of an NFL franchise or the manager, yeah, it's great when you got this guy who's doing all this rushing for you and he's banging it out and he's doing all this. And and yeah, you want to give him that money, until something like this happens. And then yep, you're out, you know, a bunch of millions and you don't have anybody running that football anymore. So that's why I think that, and then we've talked about it, and I'm gonna let you get your piece in that it's a little wearisome sometimes when people want to pay these guys knowing, man, your season could be over in week 2, week 1. So I mean, what's the deal? Why do you think on the other side of the player's perspective, why do they want this money
It,
instead of playing for free? Really?
I'll give a good example. And going back to my team, Green Bay. Green Bay's like 3-10 or something like that without Aaron Jones playing. And that's even going back to when Rodgers was there in Green Bay. And you think of it at that standpoint, and you see like, all right, when you don't have me, you've only won 3 games out of 13. And that sort of kind of stands on that point of why we need to get paid. And last week with Green Bay, I mean, if Aaron Jones is in that game, I mean, that it's a blowout in a sense, in my opinion. I mean, with the way that AJ Dillon looked, but then you fast forward to Monday Night Football. You have Nick Chubb, which is a key part of that offense. Once he went down, I mean, Nick Chubb had like 70 yards before he got hurt. He was
Yeah.
like 78 yards on the ground already in the first quarter.
Yep.
And you start to see that and you're like, oh man, this guy needs to get paid. This is why we're paying people. And then boom, you go down. And let's go down the list. Aaron Jones out.
Yeah.
Saquon Barkley out for an extended period of time. J.K. Dobbins, season done. Nick Chubb, season done. you get these guys, and it's just like you got Cam Akers is out, all the Jonathan Taylor's out. I mean, we just named off 6 of the top 10 running backs in the NFL who are not going to be playing week 3.
Yep.
And it's hard to give these guys this type of money when they're injured, like you said. And it's every year I feel it's almost like oh man, I don't remember it being this hot last year. Oh man, I don't remember it being this cold last year, depending on if you're in the north or south. And I feel it's the same thing with the NFL. It's like, man, I don't remember it being this bad last year. Okay, if we're talking about these injuries and we're in week 12, 13, okay, yeah, I get it throughout the year. But man, week 2 and 6 of our top running backs are out. And I mean, 3 of them are definitely done.
Yeah.
It's
Nick Chubb's out for the season, and maybe
Nick Chubb. I think that's a career-ending type of injury. What he suffered last night. Me and Brandon have seen the pictures. They're too gnarly to show. Like ESPN said last night, we're not gonna. Yeah. You wouldn't wish that upon your worst enemy. What he went through last night, and it's one of those things where you're going to blame the field, you're going to blame this, you're going to blame that. No, man, I don't. The tensile strength in my knee is the same that's in Jonathan Taylor's, the same that's in Nick Chubb. It just because they're athletes don't mean that their bones are way stronger than ours or their anatomy is any different. Are they trained for stuff? Yeah. But there is no real consideration in my mind that we can take into consideration to make this better in a sense. I mean, you have 2 guys coming down on you. You have a 320-pound lineman picking you up from the top, and then you have a DB that's coming in full fast and hitting you from the bottom. And what happens? It happens, and it sucks because there's things going around. Can't hit a guy high. They're saying they're yelling at the safety. Oh, he hit him low. He hit him low. Man, what do you want these guys to do? I ain't gonna hit Nick Chubb head on, straight up face mask to face mask. You go ask any of them dudes in the NFL, they ain't gonna do it either.
Yeah.
And it's just an unfortunate situation.
It's real tough with all the injuries and everything that happening right now, especially for fantasy managers, and that's how we perceive a lot of this as fantasy managers. As I've got 12 teams. Jesse's got a few. We're in the same leagues, 3 of the same leagues together. There's like I said, it comes to a situation where you're just searching down the waiver wire of, oh man, who do we got, and what can I replace, what can I do to scrounge out a few more points this week, because oh wow, none of his running backs are injured. So it comes to that situation, and we're going to give you a few of those guys here in a little bit.
And I want to go to that real quick. Like, you value the running back market, and they're like, oh, you hear about this. Oh, we can find these guys in this round and that round and this round. Yeah, you can, but Joshua Kelly didn't do nothing last week.
Nope.
Gus Edwards really didn't do nothing last week, and they had to split it with Hill. Yep. It's one of those things. I mean, there's only one guy, Kyron Williams, who came in and did anything.
Yeah. I mean, and he put up 24 points, and I think those are the key pieces you need to find here in the waiver wire that can help you win out a week. And maybe they don't, because some of the people that you have starting just don't do what they're supposed to do. And it is what it is. Like Nick Chubb only got 6.5 points last night. It's not his fault. I'm not mad at him, but that's how fantasy goes. We had a bet on the line, which was erased completely when he was 3 yards short of the goal line and couldn't score touchdowns. So it's risk and reward. If you don't go get it, you're never going to get rewarded for having it. So that's, there's a fine line between knowing what's going to play and you actually playing that person. I experienced that just last week. Like I said, with DeAndre Swift, I had him on a bunch. I had him on the bench, because he's kind of secondary-ish, but I put him in, switched a few people out, got me 27 points. I was happy, won a few leagues with it, and that's how it goes. Moving on, little subjects. Here we go. Best choice for quarterback for the New York Jets. I know we got a few quarterbacks on the list, but I want to hear your best choice and give me maybe 1 or 2 people that they should target.
Well, they got a restraining order on Colin Kaepernick already, so I don't know if that's true or what, but I've been seeing that going around that they had to put a restraining order on Colin Kaepernick's agents.
As they kept calling.
Yeah. So with you hear names Colt McCoy. Do you pull Matt Ryan out of the CBS booth? It's hard for me to sort of kind of justify that. I honestly, to be frank, I don't think Aaron Rodgers would fare much better last week against the Cowboys than what he did. I mean, they don't have an offensive line, and that's another thing. You can't if you can't protect your quarterback, you can't throw the ball. You can't have a guy scrambling around 20. There's only a few that can and make plays. Um, I've said it from day one that one of my big predictions was this year that Kirk Cousins wouldn't be on the Minnesota Vikings by the end of the year. We all pretty much know that he's probably not going to be there next year in general. If they lose next week, I mean, who knows? I think something happens there. I think that's what you got to go for. You don't go and try to get Colt McCoy. You don't go and get Matt Ryan. Do you try to go after Jameis Winston? But I don't think the Saints are going to let him go in case something happens to Derek Carr. And
I mean, so I think you're saying the best choice for the Jets is to go get Kirk Cousins
if
in a few weeks. What in week 4, week 5 when they're 0-4? I mean, do you really think the Minnesota's going to continue this 0-2 streak, 0-3, 0-4 maybe, and then by that time is a time to offload him? But what do they do? Who's the backup for Kirk Cousins?
You got to look at like scheduling wise. I mean, they play the Chargers, and then they got to go on the road to Atlanta. I mean to Carolina. I think they can win that game. But then you got the Chiefs and the 49ers, man.
But the Chargers are 0-2 as well.
Yeah, but Chargers are 0-2.
And their leading rusher is Joshua Kelly at 130 yards.
But Chargers are the best 0-2 team I've seen in a long time.
Well, you said that about the Packers the other day. They were last year. They were the best 0-6 team you'd ever seen.
And then they ran off 7 straight and almost went to the playoffs. So, well, I mean, it's there. Like I said, I mean, I watch this shit all the time. I think what other 0-2 team is that? I mean, the Viking, Kirk Cousins leading the NFL in a lot of categories for as far as quarterback. He does every year.
Great for fantasy. Yeah, bad for football team.
Yeah, he does every year.
And great for fantasy, bad for football team.
It goes. I thought that Kirk Cousins would probably end up in San Francisco at some point, because of the whole if Brock Purdy didn't, he did good last year, but we still didn't see enough in a sense, and last week I think he got exposed a little bit, had a hard time throwing the football. And if he gets hurt, I mean, that's a place that he's going to go. But if I was the front office, screw all this crap that you hear about them. Oh, we're sticking with Zach Wilson. I don't believe that. And Kirk Cousins is the only one I can see that's going to make that team to get them where they want to go.
Yeah. Moving right along. I really like the Kirk Cousins to the New York Jets. I think that could maybe turn some tides. I don't think it will push them to the playoffs. I don't. Miami's too tough. The Bills are going to be tough, and I think and Bill Belichick's not going to give up much. As he hasn't in these last few weeks, even with a mediocre, I believe, New England Patriots offense that he has there.
And you look at that schedule too. I mean, the Patriots, best defense in the league, one of them. Then you got the Chiefs. Then you got the Broncos. Then you got the Eagles. It's like,
yeah. What do you do, really?
Yeah.
Honestly, what do you do? But moving on, we just kind of mentioned this. We talked about it yesterday. A coach that's on the hot seat, the Chargers head coach, Mr. Taylor.
Brandon
One or
Staley.
two, huh?
Brandon Staley.
Staley, excuse me. Um, one or two more losses, and I think it's time to shop. Starting to shop around. There's a few more, like the Broncos. One or two more losses, and I think Sean Payton needs to be evaluated.
See,
With that.
Sean Payton
He's a
wanted,
he's a great coach, but it's like if it's not working, it's not working. I mean, that's how
yeah,
that is.
and Sean Payton wanted that Chargers job ultimately, I think. I think that's what he was hoping for, in which he was gonna. I mean, from all accounts, I thought Brandon Staley was going to be gone last year after that debacle in the playoffs against the Jags. I mean, and it's one of those situations where it's what are you doing for me now in the NFL?
Every week, every week.
Every week. What did you do
Yep.
for me now? And with today's social media and the way that stuff gets broadcasted and put out there in this world, it's I need it to be done now type of situation. Yesterday, in fact. And he's to me, it's him and Bill Belichick. I know that's crazy to sound,
Yeah, you said
when
that
we
the other day. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
I
and
just don't see that in any way, shape, or form. I mean, unless he goes like 2-15. I mean, you really think Belichick's going to leave that organization? Him and Tom Brady made New England what they are. So, I mean, do you really? It's like honestly, just like if Alabama were to go, 7-8 under 500. I mean, is Nick Saban getting fired?
well, I mean,
Or is it going to be like 2 or 3 years of bad, and then we're like, all right, Nick, come on. I mean, we gotta make an organization here.
he's also another guy that I think unfortunately is probably Nick Saban. I'm talking about is I, this might be his last year in Alabama, and not that they go and fire Nick Saban. They're not going to fire Nick
You
Saban.
think he retires?
I think he walks away. I mean, the dude's 90 years old. I know he looks like he's freaking 50, but still, I mean, I think this is he's realizing with this transfer portal and this NIL deals and everything like that it's going to be hard to get the talent to go where you want it. And unfortunately, Brandon Staley though is just to me is incompetent. Um, for a coach. You don't blow that big of a lead in the playoffs when you're pretty much have the team that could go all the way, like they did last year.
Yeah. Question for you: is Tampa Bay on a hot streak? Are they for real, or have they just been defensively lucky these last 2 weeks? As they go into Monday night on a long week and play the Eagles, in Tampa.
I've always they're losing that game. Um, I've all
But
I've always
losing to the Eagles right now, I don't think that would make you not, for real. I mean, does Tampa have a good football team? Is Baker Mayfield what they needed? I mean, is he
yeah
the key piece to what they needed?
I told you that I've always been high on Baker. I thought last year when he went to Carolina and everything, I thought that I was like, man, they're gonna do something here,
Yeah.
But I think what it takes is to put the right talent around the right guy. And
Okay.
I think with Tampa, that's a perfect place for him to be, man. The the NFC South, I mean, 3-2-0 teams.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I think two of those teams get losses. I think all three of them take the L next week, but it's one of those situations where you got to be in the right situation, and I think he is, and I really do like Baker there. I think that team could be for real. I'm loving what White's doing, the running back. I mean, he's showing promise, and they're able to delegate the ball. They don't have Tom Brady there now, which I mean, every time that Tom Brady's under center or behind center, you think he's going to throw the ball. Tom Brady's going to make this completion. And I don't think they have that weight on their shoulders anymore. It's sort of kind of gone. It's the same thing with sort of kind of the Green Bay experiment. It's the weight of the pressure of the shoulders of having this Hall of Fame guy on your team is now gone, and you can go out there and just play ball. Go play your game. Todd Bowles is just he's catering to what they have on the field. I
Yeah.
mean, Mike Evans had a season in one game last week. What, he caught almost 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's like, he had a whole season in one game last week, pretty much.
Um, few. I want to do one more little point, and then I want to talk about some of the best teams in the NFC, AFC, and the most impressive ones as well. The Chiefs' offense is very dull. Now we know Patrick Mahomes just got a restructured deal to make him the highest paid player again, per year. So
For the next 3 years.
yeah, for the next 3 years. So what is it about these guys that are just trying to re-up everybody, re-up the next guy? I'm better than you. I need a few more dollars than you do. But you're not giving me anything else. I mean, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, he's the best quarterback in the league right now. Yep, okay, great. But 17 points is I can't believe Jacksonville did not score 17 points, but on Kansas City's defense, I was kind of stunned and shocked about what Jacksonville was not able to do. But I was
Both of those teams.
more shocked at how many opportunities Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, they were just drop balls everywhere. They missing. Sky Moore caught one. There was a few guys that just were dropping passes. Now, I I'm literally thinking to myself, and that's why Stephen A. There's a bunch of people that they're not even in the top 7 in the league
Nah.
right now for teams. I don't think they're obviously they lost game one to Detroit, in which they only scored 20 points. And then this game, they haven't scored over 21 points. They haven't scored 3 touchdowns in a game,
No.
this year. And that doesn't seem right or set right with me as being an Andy Reid offensive caller and, a Patrick Mahomes like offensive style that you run with. Travis Kelce was back this week, and you can't. Well, yes, he scored a touchdown. That was an 8-yard touchdown. He didn't get very many yards after that, and I know they didn't play him as many snaps as they wanted to, because of the injury and everything. They wanted to keep him fresh, but I still think that. What are you doing going in there asking for more money when you're not producing me or giving me anything else? And I think it's another thing. These officials, administratives, and coaches, and head coaches, and owners, and they're like, yeah, we'll give you more money because we do know you're the best player in the league, but you gotta sit back and be like, you know what, I'm gonna keep your deal where it is because we're not any better than we were last year. Why,
And Patrick Mahomes,
hey, hey,
from all accounts that I've seen, Patrick Mahomes didn't go and ask for nothing.
yeah.
Patrick Mahomes didn't do it. His team, the executives there just went in there, and is that sort of kind of one of those things like you just alluded to, that you're not producing like you were these past couple
And
years.
it's not
You're
like he
not.
restructured a deal to get better players or get more money. He
No,
made more money. He's making
more.
more money, so he just took money from the salary cap. It's like,
Well, what they did is they structured his contract where, because you don't hear 10-year deals in the NFL.
yeah,
And that's what they gave him. And what they did is they took money from the back end, piled it onto these 3 years.
3 years.
And so in 3 years, they can go ahead and redo it, the structure it again. And
Yeah.
it's Kansas City I mean, what, 2 years ago, I think they were like 4-3 going into a game. And, everybody's like, oh, what are they going to do? And then they run off 8 straight,
Yeah.
and it's like,
They have the talent because obviously you have the likes of Patrick Mahomes and the pass catcher and Travis Kelce, where they can just reel off a 20-second drive and have the deep guys, but it's like I still don't get to the point. Like, these running backs are starving. They don't even have a decent one. Yeah, Pachenko's whatever, but he's not a guy. And
no,
about it.
Pachenko, but when Pachenko runs, it looks aggressive. It looks like he's
Yeah,
mad at the ground when he
yeah.
runs. And it looks good, but what if you give me only 2 yards carry?
Right. But
It's not,
and what I'm saying is, like, think about it like this: Travis Kelce is not the highest paid tight end in the league.
no.
Like, why does that sound so normal? You know what I mean? Why is that? Why is he not making a stink? Why are the tight ends not making a huge thing? Because I'll tell you what, tight ends block, tight ends catch. They do a bunch of stuff. I don't see a running back going up and trying to tag a 325-pound lineman because I have to because I'm lined up in front of him. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
not George Kittle deserves more money than he gets because of the blocking that he does.
Yeah.
I feel and helping out the run game. And all these running backs just want to whine and cry. And I want more money before I run down the field. Well, how about you start running down the field and then we'll talk about it? I
And
mean,
stay healthy.
and stay healthy. I mean, that's the thing. Like I'm a huge Colts fan. You guys see it here, but JT don't stay healthy that much, man. I mean, if anybody wants to give me a stink about it, go look at him. He's injured right now. And he's
Yeah.
like, I want money. I want money. Dude, you can't even play right. I mean, you can play, but you can't play, dude. I'm not giving him the ball 30 times. Hell no.
No.
I'll give him the ball 15 to get it going. Let's see what you got,
Yeah.
bro. Because you're
Yeah.
not the 4.5 yard run back, per carry guy you were 2 years ago, dude. Not
No.
a chance.
And that's just because you can't stay healthy.
You
And
can't. Yeah.
yeah. And I
And
get the
like Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb ain't asked for no money. You know why?
No.
Because he knows. Look at him now.
Yeah.
I bet he wanted to ask for money. He wanted to be like, where's my bag at? Can I get something here? Because I know I'm gonna get injured. But then again, people sit back and some of these guys are thinking about like, I am the best in the league, but I do get injured a good bit. Like, you know why? You know why Derrick Henry's the highest paid running back in the league? Because he's always there.
Always there.
A few years ago, he missed 1 or 2 games, but you know what? He came back, 130 yards, 2 tutties, 110 yards, 111 yards, 155, 160. He came back in the same damn form he left.
Yeah.
You guys don't do that. There's not very many running backs that'll leave, come back. Like, look at Dalvin Cook. He had that little injury last year. He is not the same man.
He does not look. Hey, I'll tell you this much. That's a good point you brought up.
Not even
that
close.
man does not look the same.
And he had a tiny injury. Didn't even have a huge one. Didn't even have a big rip or whatever. That man is not even close to the same Dalvin Cook. I drafted that guy in a lot of my leagues knowing Dalvin Cook's that man. He's that dude. He's the top 3 running back in the league every year. No, I just dropped him in 4 leagues today. You know why? Yeah. Because he's not that guy. Not behind that O-line. Not behind that. Not with the Jets. He's not that same guy at all. And that's another fantasy point right there. You need to know who is what, where they are. And like I said, that he's gone. He's gone in a bunch of leagues. All right. Last few minutes, guys, before Jesse's got to get back to work. Best teams in the NFC, AFC, and the most improved. We'll do most improved right now, me and you, and then you give me your 2 best NFC, 2 best AFC, and I'll do the same. Best improved AFC and NFC teams as of the first 2 weeks. Like from last year, from last year, what you've seen, coming to right now.
All right, so AFC, the Dolphins, man. They got the greatest show on turf, I think.
They got the fastest show on turf. Yeah, I'll tell you that.
With what they have, to me, the Miami Dolphins look like a force to be reckoned with. I think it's going to be really, 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 really hard to beat that team. Another AFC team that I was going to say Cleveland. If Chubb was still in there, that was sort of kind of we talked about coming in.
If Chubb wouldn't have fell out last night, I think they would have ran away with that game.
Oh, that game was ran away with it. We would have hit our thing. We would be rich right now.
I can't believe that first play of the game, that little bobbled pick six.
Yeah.
Bro. I was on my phone. I was like, wait, Jesse's calling me, right?
No. And so those are my 2. I still think Cleveland is gonna be good. And you can only improve as bad as they were last year. Take it no to Sean. I get it. They can only improve. My NFC teams that I think are most improved from last year, and they're both AFC South teams. Atlanta Falcons.
And wait, you just did the AFC, bro. You just did Miami.
I said NFC.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said
Yeah,
AFC.
no, no.
Sorry.
Well, my bad. Not both teams are. One team's NFC South and one team's NFC East.
Okay.
The Washington Commanders with Eric
Okay.
Bieniemy
Okay.
running that
Yeah.
offense. And let me tell you something. Why do you think Kansas City looks so? Ugh, the enemy ain't there anymore.
Yep.
They're averaging 18 points a game. Guess how many points a game Washington is averaging?
Yep.
28.
28. Yep.
And that's all because of Bieniemy, I think. So that's one team. And then I really like what the Atlanta Falcons are doing with that pony style offense. You haven't seen that offense in a long time. And when I say pony style, it's a two back on the field at all times. You don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Bijan's nasty. Tyler Algier, as a rookie last year, had set all the records for a rookie running back. You
Yep.
know, and so that two-headed monster is going to be something. And Desmond Ritter's coming into his own. They are 2-0. They really should be 1-1. You know, the game against Green Bay last week, you know, that was Green Bay's fault. I hate to say, oh, they didn't win it, the other team lost it, but that was one of those situations I think a lot of people have agreed on. So those are two teams that I think, man, are going to be breakout teams this year. Watch out for the Washington Commanders. You know, everybody wants to say Dallas, but they're doing the same thing they did last year. They come out the gates hot. They look good. You know, they do this all the time, but they're going to let you down eventually.
My NFC, AFC most improved teams for me right now. My AFC team is actually Pittsburgh. Okay. I really like the way Kenny Pickett and Pickens kind of got together last night on that big bomb. Pickens finally hit his stride. He got 130 yards of TD last night. I think 7 catches. I think we would have had that.
Yeah.
I think we would have had that whole thing for him. And Kenny Pickett is coming into his little rhythm. He's got a few passes last night I've seen that he could have made a lot better throws on, but that's a rookie. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen with a guy who didn't play very much. You know, he plays, but he hasn't got into his stride, like I said yet. That defense is what I am very much improved in, and Mike Tomlin has got those boys straight. That was such a destructive defense last night. I would put that defense against a lot of teams, and Pittsburgh could be in a few games.
Didn't TJ Watt just get like the sack record?
Yeah, man. But that's not even it, man. There's guys on that defense that are flying around. Ogunjobi, I was loving that guy. He was just taking everything away. Highsmith with the pick last night. I mean, that defense has got some ball hawks and some dogs on it. My best improved NFC team, we just talked about it. Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay. That defense right now, like I said, again, I'm all about this improved defense. When you can shut down and stop offenses from putting up 20 points, you have a huge advantage right now in scoring 21 points to win football games. That's all Tampa Bay's been doing. They're not going out crazily and scoring 35, 40 points and beating teams. They're just defensively stout football, running the ball down the people's throat, killing them, with Baker Mayfield making some throws. I didn't think that guy would get down there and make anything out of anything, but he's impressed me a lot. I'm not a huge Baker Mayfield fan, but I will say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have impressed me so far, and I do really want to watch and see what they do against Philly this coming Monday night. My best AFC and NFC teams, and then I'll go back to you with those right now. My best AFC team, and I think they're going to be unbeatable as long as they can stop people from scoring so much, is Miami. What you're going to do and what you're going to see, you are not going to just outscore Miami. It is going to be a dog fight. A dog fight with the Chargers at 37-34. They had a dog fight with New England 24-20. And like I said, if they can stop people from scoring them, they are going to be nearly unbeatable because they're just going to keep outscoring you. If you keep giving them the ball, they're just going to keep going. And that was last night. Raheem's 25 points. You know, they got a run game. They got Waddle. They got Hill. And they got this little guy named Barrios. They got Smythe as a tight end. there's a lot of talent, and like I said, if Tua can stay healthy, so we've talked about that, and their defense can pick a few balls off and stop a few, this team's going to be unbeatable. My NFC team right now, and I honestly I think with Mr. Brock Purdy, it's just over, bro. I mean, San Francisco's the best team in the
And
NFC
and the best team in the NFL.
in the NFL with Dallas right on their heels now. Dallas, I do think have a very good football team if Dak Prescott can get them over the hump.
Yes.
San
And
Francisco
it's so
is
funny because
San Francisco, like you
this
said, the
year,
best team in the NFL.
oh yeah, this year, I mean, we came into the season and we're all, oh man, there's so much talent. AFC is just reign supreme. AFC just reign supreme. It ain't looking like that.
No,
it ain't. I mean, let's see in the ESPN PPF rankings, you got San Francisco, you got Cowboys, you got the Eagles, then you got the Dolphins, then you got the Ravens, the Bills, Jacksonville, Detroit. It the top 3 teams in the league right now are NFC teams. It's hard to. I agree with you on both ends with Miami and San Francisco. It's hard to go against that. Only thing, I think Miami got lucky against the Patriots. I think the Patriots 4 or 5 times in the red zone and didn't score.
Yeah, Mac Jones had a few drives where he was just cooking. I was like,
And when you leave, I mean, you're talking about 20 points on the board, only kicking field goals. And so like you got to think about that. That game's a lot different if they go and score in the red zone twice. Only twice that game's different. So I still need to see a little bit more from their defense, like you said, if they're able to stop some people. But I mean, as it sits right now, we might get a San Francisco Miami Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking because I'll tell you where we're in right now. The way that offense looks, I think Miami's going to run through Buffalo. And that's going to do it, guys. Today, Squirrel and Jesse, as always, on his little lunch break there. Love you guys. Straight from Kenosha and Florida. Love all of y'all. We're going to check this out on YouTube. It'll be on by the end of the week. Love you guys. See you, buddy.
Let's go.